Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mr. Johnson. I'm the choir director at Armstrong High School. So I am going to go over real quickly with you a quick lesson on the musical score, how to decode and decipher and understand what's going on in the musical score. Before you pick up your instrument, before you open your mouth to sing, it's very important that you are musically literate about what's going on in the score. I don't want to assume that everybody knows that. At the high school level, our students are expected to know these things as well, as I'm sure your directors and your conductors and your teachers expect you to know the same thing, but I don't want to assume that anybody knows anything. And as you're coming up to the high school level, we want you guys to be well prepared to be able to open up that sheet of music on the first day and be able to read those warm-ups and read those songs and make our job a little bit easier. Okay, so let's look through. Today I'm using the example, and I'll pop it in and out of the screen as we use it, or I'll have a picture-in-picture kind of thing going on. So the way we're going to use this today, we're going to use a recording called You Raise Me Up. It's recorded originally by Josh Groban, and we're going to use the arrangement by Roger Emerson. It's SATB. It's something that's very kind of popular amongst these kind of songs are popular amongst your middle school and your high school choir directors, and even in college as you go into college. Elementary school, not so much, I don't think, but as you go into middle and high school and above, you start looking at these scores of music. So let's take a quick look at what's going on here. So let's start from the very top of the page, and we're going to work our way down into the music and get into the meat and potatoes of what's going on there. So the first thing you see at the very top center, it says recorded by Josh Groban. Clearly that's going to be the person who recorded the song originally. That's not always important, but it's kind of a selling point because it's a pop song. So if you're a Josh Groban fan, or your director's a fan of that person, or you all may know who he is or something like that, that's just a nice selling point on the top. So that's good. Let's move on. You Raise Me Up, big bold letters. Of course, that's the title of the piece. If you go down to the next line, it says for SATB and piano. So there's a hint right there that tells you who's supposed to do what in this song and what this is written for. So if you're in orchestra, this isn't written for you. If you're in band, this particular version isn't written for you. If you are in choir, ding, 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 it's written for you. So it has SATB and piano. So this song is not an a cappella song. It's not just vocals only. A cappella means without music, so it's not a cappella. It's supposed to be with piano accompaniment, and SATB designates those vocal parts. So SATB is 4 parts: soprano, alto, tenor, bass. Now in high school, we typically try to go for the 4 parts, SATB. Sometimes we'll use SAB. And depending on the arrangement of your song and what your choir is looking like, you will kind of pick music that goes to that. I'm sure your middle school directors do the same thing. You may have seen music that's in 3-part harmony, or maybe 2-part harmony, or it may be SAB, or something like that. So it just depends on the vocal parts that we're looking at. But this same song can be arranged in different ways, and you can purchase this music arranged for different ways, and you'll see slight differences. All right. The next thing, it says performance time, approximately 4 minutes and 45 seconds. So roughly that's about the time that it should take to perform this song. So when that's pretty much for us as the teachers, as we're putting our concerts together and things like that, we want to kind of know what's the running time of this music. All right, let's go to the left. Now to the left of that is some very important key pieces here. That says arranged by Roger Emerson on the left. If you go to the right, it says words and music by Brendan Graham and Rolf Loveland. Okay, if you see that. All right, let's make sure make sure we're on the right page. We're doing the same thing. All right, so to the right, let's go to that first. So to the right, words and music, those are the people who wrote this song originally. Josh Groban is the artist who recorded it. That does not mean he's the person who wrote it. So that's a little bit of the legal jargon and the legal stuff about music. So words and music by Brendan Graham and Rolf Loveland. So they are the people who wrote the music originally. They may have sat down at the piano, and one may have come up with the lyrics and one may have come up with the music. It doesn't really specify. It just says together though, the whole song came about by those 2 people. All right, to the left, the arranger. The arranger is the person who created this version that we're doing for choir. So Roger Emerson is a very well-known choral arranger. So there are a lot of songs that us as teachers use that he has arranged. So he's very popular in that respect. So he's the person who arranged this. So if you listen to the song, arranging is like a remix. So if you listen to this original song, and I get it all the time from my students, they say, but Mr. Johnson, this sounds different from the version that I know. I know it sounds different from the version that you know. It's supposed to. It's a different arrangement. Typically, Josh Groban is how many people? He's only one person. So that song, when he performed it, is only arranged for probably just his vocal. It may have some background vocals, but it's arranged for him to stand on stage and sing it by himself. When you go into performing it as a group, now you have to rearrange that song. You have to expand those songs for the instruments that you're going to use, or for the vocals that you're going to use, where the solo is going to be placed, where is everyone going to sing together, where they're going to sing unison, and so forth. So he's the arranger. All right, let's move on down. Right underneath that, it says bold letters, it says dramatic ballad. Then you see parentheses, you see a note, which is a quarter note, which I think you guys have already learned about, or you learned about in the previous lesson, even as we've been on this quarantine. That's a quarter note. That quarter note receives 1 beat. So that is going to be the gold standard by which the song moves along. So you've got a quarter note, an equal sign, and that number is what? Correct, it's a 60. So 60 stands for BPM, or beats per minute. That is the tempo. You're always going to see that tempo of the song. That's how it's going to move along. So dramatic ballad, kind of typically means that it's a slower song, more emotional. And then it says parentheses, quarter note equals 60, or 60 beats per minute. So that song is going to be typically a bit slower. So 60 beats per minute is about the same time, or the exact same time of seconds on a clock. So 1, 2, 3, something like that, you know, somewhere along in there. That would be about the time. Maybe I might be a little fast, but that's about 60 beats per minute. So it's not a fast song by any means. It's not supposed to be fast. Okay. All right, let's look at the next thing. So now you see, let's get into the actual score here. So the score, you got from left to right, you see the bracket all the way to the left, and you see the treble clef on the top, the bass clef on the bottom. That denotes that who's going to be singing where. The treble clef typically is going to be for the sopranos, altos, sometimes the tenors. And then the bass clef on the bottom is going to be for the basses, sometimes tenors. So you have to be able to kind of look through and see what's going on. Now, the beginning of the song, the singers aren't even singing yet. This is just the piano. So the first part of this first piece of music that we sing, the first couple of lines here, is just only going to be piano. So vocals aren't even singing there yet. So you guys maybe can look ahead and tell me where the vocals come in. And I'll ask you that in a second. You maybe have an answer for me there. You can have an answer ready to go. All right, so up front, there's still some important stuff here. We see the treble and bass clef. Right after that, to the right of that, you see 2 hashtag marks. You see 2 on the top and 2 on the bottom. Those hashtag marks are sharp markings. They're sharp symbols. A sharp raises a note by a half step, and a flat, which is the opposite symbol, that lowers a note by a half step. And then a natural sign cancels the effect. A natural sign is just a normal, regular note, like C natural, D natural. Then you have C sharp, or C flat, or D sharp, or D flat. So it just depends on how they denote the note. So this is that's called a key signature. That tells us what key are we playing in. So in this particular case, we're playing in the key of D. So it will sound something like that, the key of D major. So we're in D major here, and yep, we're in D major. So we're playing in D major. So that's just telling me, as the piano player in this case, what key I'm going to be playing in, and that tells us as the singers what our tonality is. So we put ourselves in that key, so that we're not singing in 4 or 5 different keys. I can't stand that. All right, so let's look along. Let's keep going. Now, the music is separated into bars or measures. So it's organized in that way for reasons that I can say, if I say, all right, let's go to measure 5. Okay, let's go to measure 10. Let's go to measure 12. Let's go to measure 26. Then we're all on the same page. We're speaking the language of music here. Okay, all right, so we're going along. We're in measures here. So measure, those measures are kept in place by the little numbers that are inside the rectangles or the squares here. So we've got a couple of hit points here. One is measure 5. You see that on the second line? So you're counting, as the piano player is playing your intro, you're counting along. So measure 5 is the first kind of hit point. You're counting along as you go. All right, so here's the big question. Singers, where do the singers come in? Where are you starting to come in? What measure do you come in? If you said measure 11, you're correct. Now, my next question is, who is coming in singing? Who's supposed to come in singing there at measure 11? If you look, it's going to be on the upper side. So if you look there, you see your voice markings all the way to the left of that same line that measure 11 is on. If you look to the left, it says soprano on the top, alto, tenor, and bass. So the tenors and basses in this case are singing on the bottom, soprano and alto are singing on the top. So who comes in at the on measure 11 at the bottom of that first page? The sopranos and altos. The reason why I know that is right above that first note over the word when. It has UNIS in a period. UNIS means unison. That means that the sopranos and the altos are singing one voice. They're singing together, coming in unison. The guys have rest along there, so the guys are not singing yet, so they're chilling. So then you have dynamics. There's another thing that we're looking at. I see MP right after the word unison, or the abbreviation for unison. There's an MP-MF. Now, MP means mezzo piano. Mezzo means medium, piano means soft. So this is medium soft. So it's a ballad that makes sense. You never come into a song smacking and you come in on loud on a ballad. Never. You're gonna come in kind of soft, and you're gonna the song is gonna move in waves, and it's gonna eventually build up somewhere, and then you're gonna probably come back down. So it's supposed to move in waves in that way. All right. So mezzo piano, medium soft. And then MF means mezzo forte. So medium again, forte means loud. So you're gonna end up starting at mezzo piano, and at some point you're gonna end up going into mezzo forte. That's how I'm seeing to mean that. Okay, so there's a few things there. So let's just kind of real quick go back. We've covered the title of the song, the tempo, the arranger, the writer, the key signature. Oh, I skipped something. The time signature at the very top. There's two numbers, 4, 4. The very top left of the score of the actual piece of music. There are two numbers. Do you see that? All right, there's 4 over 4. That is the time signature. That is how we count the song. The top 4 means that there are 4 beats for every measure. So for every one of these little blocks that we're going through, you're gonna count 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. So each block, you don't move on to the next measure or block until you get through your 4 beats. All right, the bottom 4 tells you that the quarter note, which is the same quarter note that's in that tempo marking, this is quarter note equals 60. That's a quarter note. That means that whenever you see that note is worth 1 beat. So quarter, 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 1, 2, 3, 4. So whenever you see those quarter notes, that is your beat. Your beat is based on that. The song moves along based on that. All right, so I'm sorry I skipped that for a second. All right, and we're just looking at the first page. We're not going into more than this. We're just gonna look at the first page because the first page tells you so much. All right, finally, last thing I wanna show you. Let's look at the very, very, very bottom in the small, small print at the very, very bottom of the page. I hope it's not too blurry for you. All right, the copyright. Like I said, some of the legal things. At the top, we talked about the writers and the arranger. Those people are people that get paid for their contributions to this song and this particular work as well. And then at the very, very bottom, it says copyright. What year is the copyright, guys? Do you see that copyright? Yes, 2002. The copyright is 2002. And who is the copyright through? The original copyright. There's more than one. All right, so it says Peer Music Limited, Ltd, Universal Music Publishing. All right, and then at the next line it says this arrangement. Remember that this song is a particular arrangement, so when they do a different arrangement, there's a whole different side of the business part of it that goes into that. So this arrangement was copywritten in what year? 2003, correct. So 2003 by Peer Music again, Universal again. So the same company, but when they reissued, it's like a remix, like I said a few minutes ago. It's like a remix. When they reissue it as a different arrangement, they are gonna have to make some kind of record for that too. So the original song is 2002. This version is 2003. All right. So I think we've gotten to everything here, the end of everything. I'm trying to see if there's anything else that we need to look at. Now, of course, this song is going to break off into harmony. The guys are going to end up singing all that, but our goal today was just to take a few minutes to look at the first page and make sure that we had the first page locked in and we look at everything that's going on. So hopefully this helped you all. I hope this helped you. I hope you all are staying safe with your families, and we wish you guys the best. We miss you so much, and we can't wait to see you guys. If you're coming to Armstrong, join that choir, and if you're in the 8th grade and you're moving on to Armstrong, join that choir. Once again, my name is Mr. Johnson. I'm the choir director. We have a great fine arts program. Give us a shout. Wishing you guys the best. Stay safe.